Let's move back to our contacts file and do some work with our parts, our header, our body, and our footer. We're going to leave sub-summaries and leading grand summaries and title headers and all that kind of stuff to our reporting section. We need to deal with the most important browse mode types of parts. So let's go ahead and close this. We'll go into layout mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some interface in here. I'm going to click on my header and change the color. Simple as that. You just click on it and then choose whatever color you want. Now it's kind of hard to see this black text now, so I'm going to change it to white text. And we might make this a little bit bigger. So all depends on what you think looks good. Maybe move it over a little bit, position it right. And then we'll come down to our footer and make it the same blue color. There we go. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this information down into the footer. And instead of making it white, I think I'll choose a nice gray color. So we'll go over to the text color and choose gray. And maybe a little bit darker. We'll try up here. I kind of like that. I want it to stand out but not too much, and I think that does a better job. You want this to be more obvious than this. That'll still be there, but we just want it to be more obvious that way. And then we'll move this tab control down a little bit. And notice when you move it that everything inside of it moves along with it. That's because it's like a vacuum cleaner. Everything inside of this tab control will move along with it, so you don't have to move everything individually, and that's kind of nice. Everything outside of it, of course, will not move with that tab control. Then I'll tighten this up a little bit. That looks good, and I'm going to click on the body part. I'm going to fill this with a nice yellow color. So you can see we're starting to get somewhat of an interface here. Kind of starting to look kind of nice here. So let's go over to our list view and make it look the same. So we'll come in, we'll choose that blue color. We'll select all the text in there and make it white. And we'll go ahead and add a part because we don't have a footer part. We can have a footer part if we want, but we don't have one right now. And so we're going to show you 3 different ways to enter parts, new parts. So what you do is the first way to do it is to grab this. It's like this field tool, and it has that little arrow so you can drag it down. You drag it down to where you want it. The footer should go after the body, so we drag it here. And then we choose footer. You notice we can't choose any of these. We can't choose a body because we already have one. We can't choose a header because we already have one. We can't choose these because they have to go above the body. That's just the way. If you remember the example context file we showed before, those parts all have a predetermined order they have to go in. And it's just basically this order you see right here. So we can choose our footer and then click OK, and it goes right in there. And that looks great. We'll click on it. We'll go ahead and change the color here. Make it that same blue. And you can change the part size by clicking on this and then moving it like that. Or if you're lazy and you don't want to come down here and do that, if you're very careful, you can go ahead and drag it this way. Just get right on that edge there. And then we can make it whatever size we want. So let's take a look at this. Well, actually, we forgot one thing. We need to make our body yellow. So we'll click on that and choose the yellow color. And let's see how this looks in browse mode. So it looks pretty good, and we switch to form view. It's really got a consistent look here now, which is great. So let's go back into layout mode. And I want to show you how the part tools, the different ways of adding parts in, work. So we've seen this one, but let's choose it again, and let's drag it right into the middle here, right between the header and the body. And you notice that what happens is it's going to steal this area away from the body. It's going to split the body. We can choose a leading grand summary or a sub-summary, whichever one we want. And when we do that, it's going to go ahead and steal away from this part here. So it's going to split that body, and it's going to be very different than what we're going to show you next. But this is important to understand that if you want to steal away or break down a part, you can do it this way. If you want to go ahead and move all the parts down, well, then you might want to choose Insert Part from the Insert menu. And now we can choose any part we want because it's not any particular location. It will add it for us. If we choose a leading grand summary and click OK, you notice that it moved everything down for us. And if we delete it, it goes back to the way it was. And that's really the same as going to the layout menu and choosing part setup. You have the ability to edit or change an existing part if you want, or create a new one. And it works the same way. It'll move everything down for you just like that. You can also get into that part setup by double-clicking on a part, just like that. It skips the first dialog and goes directly to modifying what that part is, and you can change this header into a leading grand summary if you want, just like that. Click OK, double click on it again, and change it back to a header. So you've got a lot of power here. Remember all the different ways of adding parts and modifying parts and things like that, because it'll really help you do things efficiently. You may want to drag on a part, or you may want to insert a part. It all depends on what you're trying to accomplish.